All right, ladies and gentlemen. So today's lesson is called Operations with Integers. And what we're going to learn today is basically how to do all the fundamental things you're going to need to do in algebra. So this is really just a series of rules. But first I need to define what an integer is. So this will be a little definition. Def for definition. An integer is an integer, I-N-T-E-G-E-R-S. An integer is any whole number from negative infinity, this is the infinity symbol, this sideways 8, to positive infinity. There will be people out there who say this is not a precise definition, so I'll show some examples of what I mean. And these are the examples from the book. They say basically negative infinity, dot, 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 negative 3, comma, negative 2, comma, negative 1, comma 0, 1, 2, 3, dot, 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 all the way up to infinity. So key points here are no fractions, those are called rational numbers, R-A-T-I-O-N-A-L. Fractions are called rational numbers. No fractions or non-repeating decimals. And that would be like an example of a non-repeating decimal would be like pi, which is roughly equal to 3.1415925. And basically it just goes on forever, never repeats. Fractions like 3/4, they're not allowed. Non-repeating decimals such as pi are not allowed. So basically you got your numbers, just numbers by themselves. And that's what integers are. The key point about integers is that they can be positive, they can be negative, and 0 is in that set. Okay? So that's the definition for the day. Everything that follows is more or less a rule. Okay, it's just rules. Okay. So now we're going to start those rules. Can I erase this definition? We'll go through these pretty quick. I think you guys will know a lot of these. Rule number 1. Adding two negative numbers. Now this is key. I want to underline the word adding here. Many people will start to think of a rule about multiplication, about what I'm about to write, but I'm writing the rule about addition. Adding two negative numbers and then I'm going to put in parentheses e.g. And this means, for example, e.g. negative 6 and negative 9. Okay. Adding two negative numbers, like negative 6 and negative 9, will always result in a, quote, bigger negative number. So let's look at an example of that just to make sure we understand. Here's our example. 6 plus 9, in positive land, 6 plus 9 equals 15. Notice this. Neither 6 nor 9 are larger than the sum of 6 and 9. This is, like first grade math, right? 6 plus 9 is 15. It's always the case that the numbers that make up the addition are both smaller than the number that they add to be. Well, the same thing holds true for negative numbers. Let's just add a negative sign. Negative 6 plus negative 9 equals negative 15. This is confusing because often this problem is written like this. Negative 6 minus 9 equals. Okay? Thank you. So when you see a problem like this, it's very tempting to make a mistake. And so whenever I see a problem like this, my first step is to rewrite it like this. Negative 6 plus negative 9. Now, to me, that makes more sense. There is no such thing as subtraction in mathematics. We call it subtraction, but we're just adding negative numbers together, okay? So subtracting 9 from negative 6 is the same thing as adding negative 9 to negative 6. It's the same thing. They both result in negative 15. Okay? Can I erase this? All right. That's rule number 1. There's only a couple more rules to get us started. Okay. Rule number 2. This rule is called the additive inverse property. ADDITIVE, additive inverse, INVERSE, property, PROPERTY. The additive inverse property. And this one's really simple. We just need to understand what an inverse is, right? Let's start with a number 14. Most people are 14 in here. Some are older, some are younger. But if I start with number 14, I need to know what is the opposite of 14. Great job, negative 14. So 14 plus the inverse of 14 is the same thing as saying 14 plus negative 14. Okay? They cancel each other out, and the answer is 0. Because that right there is the same thing as saying 14 minus 14. Everybody knows that to be 0. They're both 0. So to put this into words, the additive inverse property states combining C-O-M-B-I-N-I-N-G, combining an integer I-N-T-E-G-E-R, combining an integer with its inverse I-N-V-E-R-S-E, combining an integer with its inverse, such as 14 and its inverse, which is negative 14, always results in a sum of 0. Anybody still writing? Okay, so I can erase. All right, so that we did the additive inverse property. Rule number 3 is going to just be one word different. Rule number 3 is going to be the multiplicative inverse property. Now let me see if I can, I'll probably have to rewrite all of that. Multiplicative, that's a tongue twister. M-U-L-T, mult, I-P, multipli-I-L, or L-I, sorry. M-U-L-T-I-P-L-I, multiplicative, T-I-V-E, multiplicative inverse property. I-N-V-E-R-S-E, property, P-R-O-P-E-R-T-Y. Multiplicative inverse property. This one's fun. This one might be something new for you. Okay. Here's the rule. When multiplying any number by its inverse, we'll talk about what it is. Multiplying any number by its inverse always I guess if this sentence is going to make sense, we should say, when multiplying any number by its inverse, you always get 1 as the product. When multiplying any number by its inverse, you always get 1 as the product. Now the key here is to write by its multiplicative inverse. So there's a difference between an additive inverse and a multiplicative inverse. Multiplicative. So I would write this above the word inverse so you know it's a different type of inverse. Let's do an example. Four. The multiplicative inverse of 4 is 1 over 4. The multiplicative inverse of 66 is 1 over 66. The multiplicative inverse of 3 over 4 is 4 over 3. Sometimes this word is called the reciprocal. R-E-C-I-P-R-O-C-A-L. Raise your hand if you've ever heard the word reciprocal when talking about multiplication. If you want to multiply 1/4 by its reciprocal, you multiply by 4 over 1. Okay? And that's the multiplicative inverse. So here's an example. 4 times 1 over 4. Let's see what happens. Well, we'll rewrite 4 as a fraction, which I can always write a whole number as a fraction by just writing the whole number over 1. So 4 over 1 times 1 over 4. Multiply across the top and the bottom. 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 4 is 4. And I have 4 over 4, which reduces down to just 1 over 1, which equals 1. Okay? And I just want to show an extreme example so this gets in your head. We'll do 279 over 63 times its inverse, times 63 over 279. Now the good news is you don't have to do any math. Look what happens. When you're multiplying fractions like this, you can cancel the denominator and the numerator of the opposite fraction. So cancel, 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 cancel. All that's left behind are ones everywhere. Okay, so whenever you see something like this, you can save a ton of time. Because you know the answer is going to be 1, because that's a rule. Okay, final rule. Can I erase? You guys are doing great. We're almost done. Final rule coming up. Good to go? All right. Final rule. Here we go. Rule number 4. And I think all of you will know these rules. These are we're going to call these the multiplication and that's multiplication, multiplication and division rules. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to make this as a table. Multiplying a positive number by a positive number equals, is it going to be positive or negative? Positive. A positive times a positive equals a positive. How about a negative times a negative? Positive. So back when we first started the rules, that's what y'all were thinking was, oh, he's going to write double negative? Only in multiplication and division does the rule apply. A negative times a negative equals a positive. Now, when the signs are different, it's always going to be negative. So a negative times a positive equals a negative. and a positive times a negative equals a negative. That's your multiplication table. You can actually use the same table to make your division table because the rules are identical. Just check this out. Instead of these dots for multiply, we're going to just do this. We're just going to put division. So a positive divided by a positive always gets you a positive. Negative divided by a negative always gets you a positive. This one confuses people. A negative divided by a negative gives you a positive. One of the problems here is negative 64 divided by negative 8. The answer is positive 8. Okay? And then a negative divided by a positive is a negative. Positive divided by a negative is a negative. When you're done writing, you're done with the notes. Okay? Now we're going to move on to solving all the problems. Because I want to make sure that this class gets 100 on their work from yesterday. Okay? How does that sound? This will go real quick because now that we know our rules, we'll be able to move super fast. And I think most people had no trouble with anything except the word problems. And so we'll make sure to go over those. Can I erase all this? All right. I'm going to erase everything. Okay, so we did all the odds. So here's number 1 from page P12. Negative 8 plus 13. What does the audience say the answer is? Positive 5. Okay. Number 3. And by the way, just on this one, looking at this, I knew it was going to be positive because the bigger number was positive. Number 3. Negative 19 minus 8. Negative 19 minus 8. Negative 27. So just for those that, if you get that wrong, it's negative 19 plus negative 8. Okay, you're adding these numbers. 19 plus 8 is 27. So negative 19 plus negative 8, according to Rule 1, is negative 27. Good. Number 5. 12 minus 34. It's going to be negative 22. Now, so I want to just do one thing. So it's really 12 plus negative 34. The way we actually do this is you take 34, put it on top, and subtract 12. 4 minus 2 is 2. 3 minus 1 is 2. Put a negative sign in front of it. It's negative 22. If the bigger number is negative, and you have a positive and a negative, and you're combining them, negative wins. Okay? Negative 22. Everybody good with number 5? Okay, I'm going to move over here for number 7. 50 minus 82. Exactly the same situation. What'd you get? Okay, let's check. So it's going to be 82 minus 50. 2 minus 0 is 2. 8 minus 5 is 3. Put a negative. Negative 32. Nice job. And we're on to number 9. Negative 80 plus 102. Negative 80 plus 102. What'd you get? 22. Positive, right? 102 minus 80. The bigger number was positive. So this is just a straight subtraction problem. 2 minus 0 is 2. I got to borrow here. 10 minus 8 is 2. So it's 22. That's the answer. Can we fit 11 here? Yeah, we can do that. We can fit 11 here. 60 divided by 12. What'd you get? Correct. That's just a math fact. That's a math memorization fact. Because 5 times 12 is 60, then 60 divided by 12 is 5. All right, we're moving right along. Can I erase everything? Okay, we're going to go to number 13. Number 13, this is the one we talked about. Negative 64 divided by negative 8. And that was in parentheses. So a negative divided by a negative is a positive. 64 divided by 8 is 8. So negative 64 divided by negative 8 is positive 8. Yay. Raise your hand if you got that right. Oh, right. Look at that. That's a good one. Number 15. 54 divided by negative 6. So I have a positive 54 divided by a negative 6. A positive divided by a negative is a negative, so I'm going to preload my answer with a negative symbol. And what's 54 divided by 6? 9. So the answer is negative 9. Who got that right? All right, guys. I'm proud of you. 17. Negative 23. Okay, I want to talk about this notation. Negative 23, and then open parentheses 5. What is being asked of you? Oh, good. Multiply. So you knew all that already. So over here we'll do 23 times 5. 3 times 5 is 15. Carry the 1. 2 times 5 is 10 plus 1, 11. Who got 115? And it's negative times a positive, so the answer is going to be negative 115, right? Y'all get that? Great job. Now we're on to number 19. I'm going to, we'll do number 19 right here. Okay. For my viewers at home, I want to show you these problems, because I'm not going to be able to write all of them. So you can look on page P12 of your textbook. I don't think that's coming through very well. Okay, I've got another solution. For my viewers at home, I'm going to have you freeze frame that part of the presentation here so you can see numbers 19, 21, and 23. Okay. And here we go. Number 19, the outside weather was negative 4 degrees Fahrenheit in the morning. So just write negative 4. And 13 degrees Fahrenheit in the afternoon. The word and in a math sentence means plus. Negative 4 plus 13. What'd you get? Positive 9. The bigger number was positive. Negative 4 plus 13. 13 minus 4 is 9. And we should put 9 degrees Fahrenheit. It doesn't matter so much in my class, but in your science classes, it'll matter a lot. Number 21, movies. A movie theater gave out 50 coupons for $3 off each movie. What is the total amount of discounts provided by the theater? What did you get? 150 is correct. So what happened here is there are 50 coupons. Each coupon cost the theater $3. So 50 times 3 is 150. So the theater gave out $150 worth of coupons. So put the dollar sign, maybe some change. There you go. Did y'all get that? All right. Now, final question. I'm going to erase over here so we can. This is number 23. Okay. Number 23. Financial literacy. Talia is working on a monthly budget. Her monthly income, that's the money she has, she starts with, is $500. She has allocated $200 for savings. So allocated $200 for savings just means minus $200. So let's see where she's at now. 300. Okay? Now what does she do? She spends $100 on her vehicle, minus 100. Now she's at 200, cutting it pretty close. Now she's got a little mad money. She goes to the mall. Okay? She spends $75 on clothes, minus 75. What's 200 minus 75? 125. Okay, so $125. How many people got that? Great job. Okay, guys, so that is the end of our lesson. For my home-based learners, I want you to, Scout's Honor, honestly grade yourself, and each question is worth 8 points. Okay, so if you missed one, my home-based learners won't be able to see this, but over here I've got an appraisal here. If you miss 0, it's 100, 192, 284, 376, 468, 560, 652, 744, and so on. So for my home-based learners, give yourself the appropriate grade and make sure you turn in your assessment on Google Classroom. For the rest of you, I want to thank you so much for listening, and we are going to conclude the lesson for today. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're always alerted to new videos on my channel. Thank you.